Hi everyone, my name is J.S. Rancourt. I am with DXS New England and we are the Daikin representatives for Mass, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire. So today I want to use my 5 minutes to show you 5 pictures, 5 projects of not only VRV air source heat pumps, but the use of VRV air source heat pumps in advanced and special applications that I think is going to define the use of this technology over the next years. So I'll jump right into it. So this here, example 1, is a more basic use of the technology. This is a little multi-rez project where we have about 25 suites or so, each being served by their own little condensing unit, pipe down, serving the suite. What's interesting here and what's becoming more popular and will continue to be more and more popular is that unit on the right, that energy recovery ventilator made by Swagon there. And that ERV not only is a super high efficiency ERV that's passive house certified, but it's driven by a VRV condensing unit. So that condensing unit is doing trim heating and trim cooling to make sure it's delivering neutral air to the space. So that is becoming more popular. You also see the mounting. There's no penetrations with any of these units on the roof. This is a Bigfoot stand that allows to keep that continuous envelope throughout the roof as much as possible. Moving on to the next project. So this here is a larger project. This is an office building. It's got a couple hundred fan coils. This is the MassDOT headquarters near Worcester in Massachusetts. So on the left, you'll see some larger VRV condensing units. They're mounted on different stands. Those are anchored into some stanchions that they put in there. Those beige boxes that you see is where the refrigerant piping is going to go in. Now what's interesting here is on the right side, you also see what looks like a standard rooftop on the right. That's actually a VRV energy recovery unit up on the roof. It's got the same compressors and condenser fans as those VRV condensing units. And then you see the solar PV on there, which I love to see on the roof beside our units. So that's becoming more popular, VRV, but also VRV for fresh air. Moving on, another project. This here is a retrofit project. This is a Century Mill up in Lowell, Mass. And here what we did is we electrified that building, but we did so without disturbing the tenants. So this is VRV, but it doesn't have VRV fan coils all over the floor space. We only went in these mechanical rooms. We replaced these old 10-ton machines that had gas heating and through the wall DX with semi-custom modular VRV units. So what you're looking at here is a 2-piece air handler to fit through the doors that was rebuilt in the mechanical room, but it's driven by VRV condensing units. On the right, you see those on the roof. See, they're mounted on rails this time with spring isolation for elevation. So I'm showing you all different ways of mounting these condensing units. But this here for retrofits without tenant disruptions, replacing old air handlers with VRV is becoming more and more popular. Moving up in terms of complexity and size here with the same concepts of VRV driven air handlers, this is a school, a K-12 school. On the left, you see these big custom air handlers made by Haycon here. And these air handlers have similar specs to what school boards are used to seeing, but instead of being driven by maybe hot water coming from gas boilers, you can see they're driven by VRV condensing units. Love the insulation here on the piping, as you can see, to protect that piping long term instead of the black Armaflex that could degrade over time with the sunlight. So here again, the roof looks like a standard school with big custom air handlers. The controls in the building are very similar, but this here is fully driven by all electric VRV. And lastly here, in the same theme, this is another project with VRV driven air handling unit. This is a downtown Boston project, but this is a life science / lab project. So those tend to seem like very difficult projects to electrify or to make low carbon, which they are. However, on the left, you'll see again a semi-custom modular air handler. It's made by Daikin, same manufacturer making the VRV condensers. In here, there's what we call a glycol runaround loop. In labs, you can't have cross-contamination. So there's a glycol loop taking heat out of the big lab exhaust fan and bringing that heat over to preheat the air handler because it's all 100% outside air in some of these zones. So you got the loop, then the VRV system is doing most of the heating. There's also hot water coming off a gas boiler. That's mainly for backup here. So these labs are not fully electric, but they are low carbon because a lot of the heat's coming from that runaround loop and from that VRV heat pump. You can see on the right downtown Boston, some recognizable building there. Here, the units stuck together real tight because of space constraints on dunnage. That's it for me. Thank you very much, and thanks for listening.